don't laugh. I was kind of inconsolable, to be honest. I am first and foremost a book girl, but I feel like I might be equally or just a little bit less a movie and TV girl. I love a good movie, specifically a good rom-com. There are a lot of genres that I love, but I feel like rom-com is my favorite. But a good comfort TV show, sitcom, mockumentary style specifically, I will eat it up every single time. So today, we are going to read books inspired by my favorite movies. First movie that we have on my list of favorites. I have a lot of favorites, but I can only use movies that I actually have a book to correlate to, if that makes sense. So the first movie on my list is Letters to Juliet. This has been one of my absolute favorite rom-coms for my entire life. It feels like since I was probably 12 years old and I saw it for the first time, or maybe 13, somewhere around there. I have watched it maybe 25 times. I love that movie so much. It's just such a comfort movie, and it follows our main character Sophie, who is engaged to be married, and she is really trying to, elevate her career. She really wants to be a journalist, but she isn't recognized as such, and so she goes on this pre-wedding honeymoon with her fiance, who is just super caught up in his job and is networking basically the entire time. So she's kind of off on her own, and she finds this letter at Juliet Capulet's balcony, and it's a really, really old letter, like 50 years old, and we just kind of follow that story as she meets the woman who wrote that letter and tries to reconnect that woman with her long lost love. What relates this movie to the book that I'm about to write is one, the cross-country trip. So in Letters to Juliet, we have them going across Italy looking for this man, and we also have a very contentious, grumpy main character who is the grandchild of the older person in the story. So we have a cross-country trip, we have an older person, and we have a very grumpy grandchild. The book that I'm reading, and I've actually already started it, is You with a View by Jessica Joyce. I am enjoying this one. I was really enjoying it at the beginning. I'm currently on page 144. I was really enjoying it at the beginning. Now I kind of feel like we're getting a little too lusty, and I wish that there was just some more wholesomeness to the story, but I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it enough to continue turning the page. With all this talk of Letters to Juliet, by all this talk I mean me talking about it one time yesterday, I'm obviously watching it in the background while I'm reading. I haven't made that much progress, but I have made a bit. I'm now on page 160. I didn't read anything yesterday, so I'm now jumping back into it. I think I need to separate the movie from this book in order to really enjoy this book, to be honest, because I actually don't think that there is a better straight up rom-com, in my opinion, than this movie. Like, this actually, it's not even the best rom-com, but it is a romance movie, and I just love, it's so romantic, it's so atmospheric. I love overlapping love stories. So we have the grandmother's love story, and I also just love older people caring about their past relationships and past loves. I don't know, something about it always works for me. And then we also have the current love story between Sophie and Charlie. So I fear I need to really separate myself, because this movie is so romantic to me, and I don't feel like I'm getting romance from You With a View. I feel like if I adjust my expectations right now, I will be able to really enjoy it for what it is, because this is very physical based so far. Like, they haven't done anything, they actually just kissed like 2 pages ago, but it's just very lusty in my opinion. I haven't really gotten much depth or romantic moments or yearning between the characters. Right now it just feels like a lot of physical attraction. So I think if I sit myself down and say, you know what, I'm in this for a good kind of steamy tension type of vibe, then I can enjoy this. But I need to not compare it to Letters to Juliet, because
I'm sorry, I didn't know True Love had an expiration date.
True love. Are you joking?
I've explained Letters to Juliet at length, and I realized that I haven't explained what this book is about. So this book follows Noelle. She and her grandmother were really, really close, and then recently her grandmother passed away. So she's grieving the loss of her granny, and she also recently lost her job. So she's just in the trenches, basically. She's going through a lot, and then she finds a box of photos of her grandmother from the past with this man who looks like somebody who was, you know, important to her grandmother, but she had never heard of him. Her grandmother had never spoken about him or that relationship. So she was like, who is this man? So she posts some of the pictures on TikTok, and it kind of blows up, and she is like searching basically for the guy in the photos so that she could learn more about her grandmother's past life. And she finds the man, and it turns out that his grandson is actually her high school like rival or nemesis. So the grandmother and the grandfather, they had planned to get married and go on this honeymoon road trip across the states, and it never ended up happening. So they're now kind of doing that road trip, and she is posting on TikTok trying to find back her love for photography, and it's cute. It is cute. I will say that it's really hard for me to talk about this book without comparing it to Letters to Juliet. This is actually the reason that I thought about doing this video, because I just think that if this had a comp title, it would be Letters to Juliet. I don't know if you could make a comp title a TV show or movie, but I think there are just a lot of similarities between these two stories. Like, they are reading letters from the past that the grandmother and the grandfather had sent to each other. They're on a road trip. Grumpy grandson, girl who is trying to find her footing in her career and her passion. It's it is eerily similar, but yeah, I'm on page 204 now, so I don't think I will give an update until I'm done, to be honest, because I just feel like it is just a spicy kind of read. We're getting some moments of emotional vulnerability and depth with the characters, which is nice, but I feel like they're coming on the heels of some sort of physical intimacy, so it kind of feels backward to me, because obviously everybody has a different preference when it comes to relationships and intimacy. So I mean, somebody could love this isn't my cup of tea necessarily, but I'm liking it. I'm having an okay time reading it. So yeah, we're gonna finish this up maybe tonight, hopefully. I think I have like 130 pages left, and it's only maybe 7 o'clock, so this humor works for me so well all the time. Okay. Listen, I know that I am not the most aesthetic type of person. Feel like it's something I'm working on when it comes to my content. I feel like my style is more yapping and chatting than aesthetics and b-roll and stuff like that, right? I'm trying, and then my book eating menace of a dog will hop onto my bed and do something like this. I'm not even a book snob. Like I dog air my pages all the time. I like my books to look loved and lived in, you know? Like I have no problem with it not being pristine. But this is diabolical and crazy. So she obviously hates me. Seeing Other People by Austin Sigmund Broker and Emily Wibberley. Or is it Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broker? I think it's the other way around. I am loving this. I'm on chapter 4 right now. And actually, I realized that I've never introduced the book and what movie it correlates to. It correlates to one of my newest favorite movies, which is I Want You Back. And that one follows two people who have recently been dumped, and there's this guy who was in a really long-term relationship with his girlfriend, and then our female main character was in a more short-term relationship. Like she had just started kind of seeing this guy, and then he breaks up with her and moves on to find another girlfriend, stuff like that. So they team up and well, they meet and end up talking about the fact that they both got dumped recently and whatnot, and they end up forming this alliance where the other person will try to manipulate their ex to get back together with them, not knowing that the two of them are now friends and allies. So I loved that movie. I actually watched it this year for the first time in January. My husband and I were literally obsessed. I thought it was so fantastic. I gave it literally 5 stars on Letterboxd, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since then. So we will be rewatching it this week, of course. But I thought that it relates to trigger warning. I thought it relates to Seeing Other People, because in this one, it's not quite the same. This one definitely has more of a supernatural aspect, but it does relate in that two people who are newly single are becoming allies of some sort, and it's also really funny. And I Want You Back was actually laugh out loud hysterical funny, especially both of our main characters were really funny. I'm about to take the bookkeeper outside to run a bit more. We were literally outside this morning, but I guess she's restless. Anyway, I was saying that this book is also really funny. So those are like the 3 things that I feel like make them similar in my head. When I first read the premise of this, I was like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of I Want You Back. This one follows Morgan and Sawyer. Morgan went on one date with this guy from Hinge, I think, then found out that he died very shortly after that when he showed up as a ghost in her apartment, haunting her. And then Sawyer, he was engaged to his fiancée for a while, like a year, but it was 5 years ago that she died now, and he's still being very much haunted by her in this house that they were building together. His story is really sad. I can't lie. I am definitely foreseeing that I will shed some tears for them and their relationship, but I do hope that his relationship with Morgan, as he starts to lean on her, because they meet in this support group for people who are being haunted, and they seem to be the only 2 people in there who are actually being haunted. So where I've gotten in the book right now is that they have just met, they just had their first session at the support group, and now it seems like Morgan is going to extend an olive branch to see if he really wants to like help her and support her in this journey, and she can do the same for him. So I feel like through the support and the friendship that grows between the 2 of them, that Sawyer will really be able to heal, because Morgan is pretty fine. Like, she's just annoyed at Zach and the fact that he's haunting her and inconveniencing her work and her dating life, but Sawyer is genuinely like in denial and grieving and so like desperately hurt. Like, it's been 5 years and he still is like so happy every time the ghost comes around because he's like, oh my gosh, my wife is back. Like, he is not doing well. So I really hope that we see a lot of healing and a lot of, you know, second chance at love and at life for Sawyer. And I'm interested to see what Morgan is really going to gain from the relationship. We haven't learned that much about her other than the fact that she's really funny, and right now very casually into dating. So yeah, I'm going to go outside and touch some grass. Get off. I just made a blueberry matcha. This is my first time making any type of like fruit syrup for my matcha, so I'm excited to see how this is. That is really good. Okay. Life changed. That is actually delicious, but I actually came with updates. It's been a few days. I haven't really been feeling well over the weekend. I'm on page 197 right now, and I'm on chapter 25. I am loving this. I do think that if I had not spread out the reading so much, I think I started this maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, and it's now Monday. I feel like I've been reading it every day, but in small increments, and I feel that if I had like sat down and binged it maybe over 1 or 2 days, I would have been sobbing my eyes out many chapters ago. I have been tabbing it a bit. Obviously, the book is still disheveled, but I've been tabbing it a bit, and I just think that this is such an interesting concept. Yes, so it's keeping me entertained, it's keeping me interested, but I also just think the characters are written so well and endearingly. I love them. And I love the friendship that they've formed, and I love the support and care that they are giving to each other. I just think that it's so it's so sweet, and I also really feel for our main male character, Sawyer. If I just think about him too much, I will cry because he's going through such a hard time, and he has been going through such a hard time for so long, and now he's really grappling with his feelings for Morgan, who is our female main character, which are really, really complicated, but they are the closest thing to romantic feelings, even a little bit, that he's had since his fiance passed away. So for him, there's, you know, maybe like a hint of hope and a hint of a second chance at love, but there also is, coupled with that, so much grief and so much guilt because he still loves his fiance and he's still actively grieving her because, I mean, technically she has been kind of there all this time in a different light, obviously in a very supernatural way, but she has been present, and he knows that she sees him and the things that he's doing. So there's just this very ever present guilt, and yeah, I don't know. I just feel like using ghosts as, or using a ghost in this situation as like the personification of grief is so good, because it really does feel like she's there and she's haunting his every move, but she isn't trying to haunt him. It's just that because she still manifests in some way in his life, he's like, well, she is still there and she's seeing me and I can't move on, even though she wants him to move on. And it's just, I don't know, I think as a newlywed, I don't know if you can still be newlywed after like 9 months, I don't know how long it lasts, but as a like freshly married person, this story is so sad to me, so terrifying, because they were like right at the beginning of their life together, like they were building their home and planning their wedding, and then she died like out of nowhere, and he hasn't been able to live since then, and it's just, oh my god. Anyway, I do really want to finish this tonight. I think I have about 125 pages left, and actually not about exactly, I just did that quick math in my head, which might not be impressive to you, but it is very impressive to me. But yeah, I actually picked up the camera because I read this, I guess, paragraph that says, while getting dressed, this is from Sawyer's perspective. While getting dressed, I examined the slash on my side, or what remains of it. Only a thin, straight scab stretched across my skin. It's incredible, seemingly supernatural, how quickly something so painful can start to fade away. Without Morgan, how much longer would the healing have taken? And he's literally talking about like a slice on his side from an accident the night before, but he's very obviously talking about like his grief and his healing and the role that Morgan has played in speeding up his recovery and his healing, and it's just, oh my god, I am going to be a wreck finishing this book. I already know it, so I actually love them so much. It's kind of ridiculous. I love them. They are so in love. They're so in love. They're so in love, and they don't even know. They don't even know how in love they are. I know though. I know exactly how in love they are. Okay, so it's now the next day, and I didn't finish the book last night because I was just annotating it. I was crying. I was kind of watching the movie. I wasn't, well, I wasn't locked in, but I was taking my time. Like, I was enjoying the experience. So it just took me a little bit longer than I expected. I think I have about 40 pages left now, and I'm going to finish it now. I have no further update. I'm just loving this so much. Mom and Dad are fighting. Mom and Dad are literally like throwing daggers at each other's hearts. What the heck?
No, tonight was a major wake-up call. Tonight was a wake-up call, I'll give you that.
to collect myself. I just finished seeing other people, and I was kind of inconsolable, to be honest. I don't know. I think as somebody who is like literally terrified of losing somebody that I love, this book was my worst nightmare. But also the way that grief was described as like change and love in another form, it was just so, I can't say healing because I feel like I haven't really gone through deep grief. Like people that I've loved have passed away, and I've felt sad, but I don't feel like I've ever been in the throes of grief. But it felt kind of healing to read it in this way, where it's like, you know, when that time does eventually come and I have to deal with those emotions, it will be okay. Like there is hope. And I just thought that was so like reassuring, but also I just thought that the love story was so perfect. I loved them, and I thought that they were so perfect for each other, and I thought that the third act conflict was really well done. One of the best ones that I've read, because I feel like, oh, I should be showing the book. I'm sorry. I'm still kind of, yeah, I feel like the third act conflict was very valid. You know? Were some hurtful things said? Yes. But I also feel like, and they kind of explain it perfectly later in the book, where they're talking about fighting and, you know, arguing with somebody that you love being like life affirming and showing that you're alive and that you care and that you can love, and how precious it is to fight with somebody that you love, you know? Like, I don't know, this was a 5-star. I loved it, and I also knew it was going to be a 5-star within the first 20 pages, but I was so scared to hype myself up and then be disappointed, because I have been like very disappointed by some of the books that I've read recently, and I felt like they started off really strong and then the ending fell flat. So I've been hesitant to jinx myself, but this was so perfect. Morgan and Sawyer are now one of my favorite couples ever. I just feel like this might be my favorite Emily Wibley and Austin Sigmund Broker book. I've read 3 from them so far. The Roughest Draft, Do I Know You, and now Seeing Other People. Do I Know You is like a 6-star romance to me. I never really talk about it, oddly enough, but I loved that book. I was like obsessed with it. I made an entire Pinterest board and an entire playlist for that book. I loved it, and I just feel like this one surpassed it. This one was just so emotional and tender and vulnerable, and the way that the 2 characters were so distinct and so not even flawed but very human. I don't have enough words to talk about how much I loved this book and how many feelings it evoked in me. I can't believe that Stella ruined my cover of this book. And then, just to wrap up, I gave this one 3 stars. I know I kind of moved on immediately and didn't talk about it, but I just didn't want to talk about it. I was bored of this one, to be honest, and I felt like, oh, Stella also bit this one. Yeah, I felt like it was kind of the same thing that I talked about in one of my earlier updates of this book, where it just felt very lust heavy, and I didn't feel like the characters really loved each other. Like, going from this to this really made me see that I wasn't being crazy with this. that there is like real deep romantic love stories that can be written and written well in modern contemporary romance. This was not it for me, and I just kind of didn't care about them. By the end, I felt no connection to them, and my favorite thing about it was the grandpa. I thought he was cute, but even him I wasn't like obsessed with. So yeah, I give this one a 3-star. I think I'll still give the X-Files a chance, maybe later down the road, but this one definitely didn't meet my expectations, but I'm not mad about it because I got this one. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed. I really enjoyed filming this one. I think I'll make another one, a part 2 of it possibly soon, because I have a few other comic books that I've been thinking about that may work with some of my other favorite movies. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.